So welcome to the channel. My name's Grant Tommy. This is Straight Six Fan, the channel where I like to focus on offbeat hot rodding, which I classify as budget-minded, relatable, creative builds. Um, what I want to do with my channel is just make it to where everybody understands how accessible hot rodding really is. So that's sort of the behind the covers, if you will, on what offbeat hot rodding is supposed to mean. And anyway, thanks guys for jumping in the live stream. I'm gonna try to get some extra light on here in a second. And with it being the as it's getting darker earlier, more light is going to be more necessary here in the garage. But thanks again for joining in. Ace Repair, thank you for joining in. I'll be honest, this week I don't have a whole lot. I've been trying as hard as I can to figure out what each live stream is going to be about, so I have a point and a purpose for doing each one. And I'll be honest, I couldn't come up with much. Yep, we'll see Ace Repair. I understand. I got to jump in, jump out sometimes on the live streams, but I'll be honest. This week I don't have anything super specific to talk about on the live stream. But if you read the title, getting my heads in the right place, tried to be puntastic with the headline writing there. Heads, as in, of course, the GT40 heads for the build. Getting my heads in the right place. But so the point there is, the topic I want to discuss is these GT40 heads, and that was something I definitely pulled the trigger on way too early. I'm just telling you guys, as I do the cost breakdown, the cost analysis on rebuilding a set of heads around these parts, and when I say these parts, I mean the Kansas City metro area. It's machine work seems to be right around $300 for that gets you like the part washed in a dunk tank or bead blasting, one of the two, resurfacing, new valve seals, 3-angle valve job, what else? Freeze plugs. Seemed like there was one more thing I'm forgetting. Oh, decked or clearanced or flattened, if you will. All of that around these parts runs right around $300. So, yeah, I need more fingers. That's right. Driven by Gears, which, by the way, welcome to the live stream, Driven by Gears. If you guys haven't heard, he is going to be the next interview on the Know Your Neighbors live stream this Friday, 8:30 Central, 8:30 p.m. Central. So definitely, guys, if you enjoy my live streams, not only these, but hopefully the Know Your Neighbors, where I like to highlight other creators out there doing the same things in the garage. Definitely stop by Friday night for that. I love doing the interviews. Of course, some people tell me, they compliment me afterwards, which I'm always flattered by, but nice use of the emojis there, Driven. Shoot, what was I saying? Oh, I used to do sports podcasting, so I feel like, and I did that for probably 3, almost 4 years in a row. So I feel like I do okay in interview settings, or at least I have enough experience that I'm halfway polished. But so back to the head discussion, the GT40 heads. So after you just figure in $300 worth of machine work, which I think is money well spent, it just, you have to be careful with the starting point. And my starting point was another $300. I spent $300 on a Craigslist set of GT40 heads. So when you, yeah, Twisted, sorry that that's just, my standard time on these Know Your Neighbors live streams is just 8:30 on Fridays. YouTube picks up on when you do things that as much the same as possible. So that's my consistency on those Know Your Neighbors. Is once a month. They're always going to be once a month. They're going to be on a Friday, and they're going to be at 8:30 p.m. So that's unfortunately the precedent I set and the one I'm trying to keep up. But getting back to the heads. So when you spend $300 out of the gate on a used set of heads and then $300 in machine work at $600, you're getting really close to being able to spend the same amount of money on aluminum heads. Now, there's some asterisks involved there, but I mean, and I've been so we'll just leave it there. So then after I've spent that $600 and I want to do a set of roller rockers, and of course I want to do new lifters, before you know it, like you can you can top that $1,000 mark really fast. And so since I've got a $4,000 budget on this car, 5,000 now driven by gears. Your numbers in the live chat are really screwing me up. $1,000 on a set of heads just doesn't make sense. So I'm desperately really trying to sell those heads, trying to get as close as possible to my money back. Now the good news working in my favor is I think it's going to be after the New Year's before I really touch the motor performance wise. Just as I kind of look at my schedule. Of course, you guys know from Sunday I did Rat Rod Radio Flyer work, and I plan on doing that again this weekend. And then the weekend after that's the big race between me and my brother with our go-karts. And he's going to destroy me, by the way, but that's all right. It's still going to be fun to just drive the snot out of our go-karts. But anyway, we're looking at like 3 more weeks before I get back onto the Fairmont, and so that first episode is going to be a tune-up episode. Which, by the way, last night, staying up way too late, I purchased a compression tester on Northern Tool website. I think it's because I did a survey after I bought the floor jack. It's either because I misunderstood how much the floor jack cost and the advertised price actually meant I would get a $20 rebate, or it's because I did a survey. But anyway, I got a $20 gift card for Northern Tool, so I used that towards a compression tester kit. So I'm kind of excited about that. And then I think here before too long on Amazon, I'm going to buy a vacuum tester as well. So those will be super necessary for the tune-up on that. So that puts that episode about, let me think, 3 Sundays out. And then after that is when I want to start working on the 5-lug swap and the wheel and tires. So, and then by the time December rolls around, I really think I'm probably going to kind of take a break on this. I don't know. I haven't quite figured out what I want to do for storage reasons yet. I would love to park my truck in here in the wintertime for so I don't have to deal with the cold weather. And sorry, I'm trying to figure out where exactly the camera is on. There we go. So I know I need to look over there. All right. So be nice to park my truck in the garage in the wintertime so I don't have to scrape my windshield and all that stuff. But I think as I started putting my mind towards where would I store this in the meantime, I do have a friend at church who's got some rental property who has as he describes, a cabin. I was thinking about it, and if his storage solution is like not enclosed on all 4 sides and like field rats are at play or something, and they could get in there, chew up wiring, all of a sudden I could create more work for myself. So now I'm starting to think, I came up with this idea of just setting ground rules where if the low temperature dips below 28 degrees, I will just move this out into my driveway and park my truck in here. And if the low is above 28 degrees, I will leave this in there. So that way, I guess I can have my cake and eat it too. Like, yes, this might have to suffer the winter elements out in my driveway, sort of half of the winter, but I think that's kind of a decent compromise. But we'll see. MHF Tractor, hey, welcome to the live stream. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you jumping on. And then, so really, guys, that's all I've got for tonight. If you have any questions, throw them my way. But shameless self-plug, I guess, if you're interested in a straight 6-band Pistons tee, like the one I'm wearing right now, There will be a link in the description below to my Spreadshirt store, as well as an Amazon link to the phone I use to live stream on Tuesdays. A little different setup for these Tuesday live streams than a Know Your Neighbors setup, but yeah, that's all I got. If you guys have questions for me, throw them my way for sure. It's a little bit slow. I apologize. Maybe that made sense. Hopefully that made sense. I know as the comments were coming up in the live stream, I was sort of ADD about trying to keep my message straight between talking about the heads idea, and Classic Ride Society. So they are 3-bar GT40 heads, not the 4-bar GT40P heads, but that Explorer's head. These are 3-bar heads. I spent $300 on them. I'm trying to I'll take I'll take a $10 hit on them, $290. So, yeah, that's, I don't know. I think I can actually. Well, maybe I shouldn't tell you because then I won't sell them. But I think I can. I think I can find another set for cheaper than that. I think. Well, the reason I bought them, I pulled the trigger so quick was, so I was following this website. It's like 302budgetbuild.com, which is a great website. He's a YouTube channel as well, and he's got a lot of informative videos. He had his like cost breakdown on his heads, and he spent $400 for his head. So I thought like I was getting a decent snag, right? Being another $100, like I felt like I was getting them sort of right at fair market rate based on the research I'd done too. But the difference was his machine work that he got, which was the same stuff I explained earlier, was at $170 instead of $300. So, that's a cost saving. So he was all in at what is that, $570, I guess, whereas my all in is at $600. So I was thinking, I was expecting more around the $170 figure for machine work than $300. I think if I could get machine work done for that, I would just stick with keeping my heads at what I got. But that's that. MHF Tractor asked if I'd ever got the tensioner figured out. No, I haven't addressed that since my Sunday video. Hey, AKAR Life, Keith and or Abby, whoever's behind the screen name tonight, hello. Welcome. Like I said, I want to, if you guys are in Kansas City around lunchtime, I work downtown, so feel free to hit me up next time you guys are in town if you want. But yeah, I still think next year I want to do a collab AKAR Life with Catfish Jones. He did a video from a car show in Salina, a big rat rod, and I think that would be a good. I think that would be a great way to collab with that channel. So if you guys wanted to join in on that, we should look that up, set that date. No, okay, so Classic Car Society asked, are there many, it's Keith, awesome. Classic Car Society is asking if there's many machine shops in my area, so I will say yes and no. Yes, I'm sure there's more than I know about, but no, none that are super obvious. So I went to 2 different places, and both places gave me that $300 quote. So that's where, and I didn't tell the second shop that I'd already been somewhere. And their numbers, they arrived at that total number at different subtotals for each one of those things that I asked for. Now, the second shop said, yeah, Twisted R, I think I am going to make my idler either sprocket or pulley. Actually, I did order on Amazon Prime just the plastic part on a bearing, much like what I have on my spring-loaded one. So that way I've got 2 different options. I've got either a sprocket or a roller to use. But yeah, it'll be a stagnant fixed kind of thing. I think I'm getting pretty close on that. And really, I only threw the chains. I threw the one Sunday, which by the way, I did take it out later after on the 18-2 sprocket and got another two laps around the cul-de-sac. So that was fun on Sunday. But it's really like, it's when I'm as full throttle as possible do I throw the chain. But to wrap up Classic Car Society, your question, the two most obvious machine shops that I know about that I'd seen on my way to and from a job site, and then one really close to my office. Both places too, they advertise as not just machine shops. Like one said performance head, like all they do is heads. The other one I think does more engine building. Like these guys are specific to that. Hey, thanks old school only. Yeah, it's a fun little project. I'm that was supposed to just tide me over till I got a real project car, but it's turned out to be I guess a cult classic really. So anyway, the machine shop. Back to that. I'm basically done with that. Yeah, it's not the porting that I'm afraid of. It's I just want new valve seals, 3-angle valve job. I just want to know. It's sort of like I figure, and those things aren't like necessary, but it should eliminate like troubleshooting should something go wrong in the down the road. And I kind of look at it as it's just like a top end rebuild. So that's partially why I'm trying to balance like budget with best practice. I don't want to skimp on everything. I want some peace of mind with some of the stuff I'm putting on. Because like in reality, I probably could just, like brake clean those things up and just trust that the valves seat well enough. But, like I said, I don't want to have to create a problem where I'm trying to troubleshoot something where I just would feel a lot better about, having a machine. And also, I could buy a straight edge, but I can't really vouch for how flat the mounting surface, maybe there's some sort of warpage on those heads. Like that's the other thing. I for sure would want at least them to be decked or checked for flatness at a machine shop at the bare minimum. I think. I could. But anyway, that's where I would rather have new valve seals and the whole caboodle, if you will. So I would definitely probably do a mild port job on my own, especially on the intake. But that's where I'm at. I just want. I would rather gamble. I'd rather take like a $10, $20 loss on the heads, and then take a gamble that I could find another set for closer to $150, and then that just frees up more budget to do more things. Because I want to spend decent money on. I want to buy a new set of headers. On the car, because again, flatness is all key. I don't want to buy used headers. There's definitely things I don't mind buying used, but my goal is to do the heads right, new headers, and then I don't mind patching the exhaust from the headers back. I don't mind finding a used H-pipe in a junkyard from a Mustang. I don't mind finding a used Flowmaster, but again, flatness. Like I don't want exhaust leaks. Like I want things done at a machinist level of precision where I think it matters, and I definitely can scrimp elsewhere. But there are certain places I don't want to scrimp. So I want to try to be, it's a balance, and I understand I can't do everything, on the budget build. Yeah, okay, yeah, see, yeah, I'm glad there's some consensus or agreement there. But yeah, so unless you guys have any other pressing questions, I think I'll shut this down. Yeah, and I'll be honest. Again, the reason why I'm trying to do these Tuesday live streams, guys, is one reason to be consistent, but two, it's helped out my watch time a ton. Like before I did my first Tuesday live stream, I was probably right at 3,600 watch hours, and that slowly went up from 3,600 to, well, it's probably more like 3,650. But I've picked up another 50 watch hours probably every 2 weeks. I've been building, so I'm at like 3,750, 100 watch hours now for the last year. So that's that's why I'm doing that. Driven by Gears. So tell me a little bit about your blocks. Is this for the general? Are you going to be doing a motor swap in the general? I want to hear a little bit about your. Of course, I guess I can always ask you that question on Friday. Maybe that's a good live stream question. Know your neighbor's question. So maybe hold. Don't tell us too much there, but yeah, it's a good little thing. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for joining the live stream. I hope it's worth your time. That'll do it for this week's episode. Just spruce up the. Yeah. So Edward, just real quick, the heads might not be 40 years old. The GT40 heads are probably more like 20 years old. But yeah, you're right. There's here's the other scary thing, and I'll probably know this sooner than later when I get that compression checker tool. But I mean, what if I pull the heads off and there's just like scarred up cylinder walls in this thing, and compression, like I've got a toasted piston ring? Well, then the budget build, I probably will just throw the budget build out the window at that point and kind of reconsider the whole approach at that point. But fingers crossed, I'm hoping to just kind of do a top end rebuild on this 40-year-old car and give it new life where I can. But yeah, good comment there. So, but yeah, we'll close it down, guys. Thanks again. Keep in mind, if you just came into the show late, Tuesdays after 6 p.m. Central at some point, I try to do it in the 6 o'clock hour. Try to get it started before 7 o'clock, but yeah, Classic Ride Society, you're right. I honestly, if the pistons are trash on this thing and the motor's just trash, like I'm not going to rebuild a 302. I'm probably just going to pull motors at that point. But especially, and I will do what you said, pick and pull on the half price days. But if you didn't get enough of it this time, yeah, old school only. Thank you. That's the goal. That's what I'm hoping to. And see, that's the other thing. Like if I do the compression test and I have a pretty good idea there's something a lot worse wrong, then I'm not even gonna bother with the GT40 heads at that point. I'm gonna not even bother. Hopefully I'll have them sold, but I'm not gonna look for another set because I will know we gotta go back to the drawing board. But as I was saying, if you didn't get enough this week, check in next week. Make sure it's between 6 and 7 p.m. Kind of just be around YouTube watching for it, and I'll go live again next Tuesday. So, till next time, peace out.